Hi, welcome to part 2 of the LTS podcast. Remember, these podcasts are posted, the audio version at least, are posted every Tuesday of the week, unless otherwise told. And there's a video portion of this podcast that is on YouTube. So if you'd like to follow that one, follow the links in the description. So, see you then. Marcos out. French voice actors, and I was listening it on both on three: Japanese, English, and French. The nuance that I noticed in the French and in the English one was that the English speakers actually had a more inclination of speaking Spanish, and they were more like the guy was running up Paris and like pronouncing their S instead of just eating the S. Like the main character Vanitas was running. He realized that he was in love with Juana, and they were saying, "Oh, I'm in love with her," and he starts running like he's not believing it. He bumps into another character and says, "Pardon" or "Pardon," and like as if he spoke Spanish because he ate his ends. He said "Perdon," if you will. Versus I was listening again in the French style. They say, "Oh, pardon," and like you hear the OG French style, like, "Oh no, this person, the dubbers speak Spanish." Low key, I'm thinking they're also the Spanish dubbers, besides the English ones. So it's just like those nuances that the animes are trying to push from their, like the French or in the Americas, like gunslinger girls or gunslinger cats that are some girls living in Chicago. And I was listening to the Japanese version and the English version. There were some nuances that they were pulling in from the in America, right, in the early 90s, late 80s, that it's just nuanced as all to heck, to Heffel or Golden Boy even. It's just so, the dub I feel like gives it more opportunity for the world that they're trying to produce. Obviously it's not the original, but this is just my opinion. Obviously Japan is still pretty good with its Japanese content, like
Are you
Peach
challenging
Boy.
me?
maybe I'm just saying, there's a lot of nuance in dubbing that sometimes, like, again, if they're trying to do a European thing, why not do it in the German one or in the Latin-based one, which kind of sounds more apropos versus the Japanese one, where it was made. I'm getting excited, sorry.
No problem, Marcos. No, but you know what you remind me of? I think the voice actor for what was the new Spider-Man, the animated one that came out here in the States? It was
the multiverse?
Was it the multiverse? It was the one that was all Into the Spider-Verse. Have you ever heard it in Japanese?
No, I haven't. Well, what happened?
I think they do a really good job as far as like the voice acting, because it sounds so because it sounds so, like, to Chris's point earlier, I think they're a lot more
an animated
committed.
TV show. Yeah.
Right. But I think not to say that the original in English is bad in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But I think what happens a lot of the times is that the voice acting over there is a lot more curated to anime and stuff like that, which kind of puts that emphasis on how a certain character should voice act, as far as like the age, the gender, and even the type of scenario they're placed in or put in. So yeah, to your point, Marcos, they sound a lot more animated, but
it's animated.
Yeah, no, but it feels almost like they take it very seriously. Not to say that the voice acting here in the States isn't. I think, but they put that extra.
Yeah, you got the greats like this guy.
Right, exactly.
Or Spike Spiegel.
But again, once you start it, I would encourage people to watch it and pick up on those subtle differences. Another good example would probably be Eminence in the Shadow, right?
Okay, well, what happened? What happened?
So I think the voice acting there was particularly good compared to, I want to say, the English one. And not to say that the English one is bad. I don't even know, to be quite honest, if it's come out in English or not.
It's dubbed. I showed you the link. I showed you the credentials.
Oh, did you? Great.
Yeah.
So I think that the voice actor for that particular anime was really well done, because it is very fantasy orientated, and
European,
very isekai, right? So you get wonderful little clips like this one.
My ears! My ears!
So again, I think you get little clips like that where you kind of are. No, but like again, to what we were saying earlier, it just goes to show you that the filter over there, as far as like the way it's regulated, like you really have to strive and claw and fight your way to get a spot onto an animated film or work in general. And over here, I'm not saying it's not, but for whatever reason, it seems like they kind of work with a lot of the same people, not because they are their best at what they do, not to say they're not good, but I think they don't want to try other people out from outside of Texas, California, and New York. Right. They just want to work with the people that are around,
that they feel safe with. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just listened to the I Am Atomic.
Do you have like a
so much
snippet?
worse. Let me.
We actually talked with another person that does voice acting, and her again, you can listen to it on the other podcast. I think I shared it with you, Chris. Her handle is Shiren, and she's even gone through the experience of like content of just creating voices in whatever besides animation. It's that you should be hired as you as the individual. You're being called in, if you will, because you are the main source. And for example, I've done some work, but nothing compared to actually doing a TV show or anything. It's just like for Spanish, and they're like, yes, we're hiring you for being you, the speaker. And Shiren was clarifying that's what as a actor or the source, you want that, versus in some other stuff like, oh, we want you to do this voice. And her favorite voice that she always had was she didn't want to be like the girly one, right, Alan? That she
said that she always got typecasted as being like the princess voice and stuff like that, and which her voice is really nice, and it sounds great for that type of character. But I get where she's coming from, where she wouldn't want to be typecast, because then she kind of limits herself from working other types of voices or other types of gigs where it calls for a different type of voice. And I think she said that she wanted to work on her range, and for her, it's a work in progress. But I think she can do it. I think all of us believe that she can. She has the talent to do that. Absolutely.
So do you think it's the market here that it's too contained to what they already have in, again, California, Texas, and New York? Go for it.
Real quick. I got the clip. If you want to listen real quick. Hopefully it's not too loud.
That's okay.
I'm like skipping through it. You hear it?
Yeah, you cut it as you were saying, as it was coming in.
Hold up. Okay.
Atomic.
It's not the same. It's not the same.
It's
Hold on,
not
let me do it one more time.
I can hear it.
Isn't.
Okay.
Atomic.
Oh no! That's you know what that is.
I think it's way worse.
That's not the voice actor. That's the editing. The editing is whack. It sounds weak compared to. Do it again, Alan. Do it again. The soundboard.
Oh, I apologize. I kind of bounced.
No. It sounds whack. This is not even the voice actor. You know that, right, Josue?
All right, I'm gonna lower it a little bit more because Marcos complained about.
I think it is the voice actor, to be honest.
Give me one
Listen to it. Listen. Yeah.
Atomic.
Okay, now do yours, Josue. Do yours.
Oh, I closed it.
Dang it. Okay, but you can tell it's not the voice actor. They put in an echo. They put in more like emphasis.
Hold up. Let me bring it back.
This is the limitation in the production of the post-production team because of the time crunch.
Atomic.
You hear that, right, Alan? I'm
not saying that the bells and whistles of post-production isn't gonna help, because I know it is, but did you feel the same amount of gravity in his voice?
Yeah, because
of,
again,
like,
the voice the time crunch of it was meant to be made around or Japan first, and I can totally. I
are you
respect
talking
that.
about like maybe simulcasting? Is that what you think? Like the time sensitive?
No, not even.
I think more or less. I think it's because of the directing.
Yeah,
You
Okay.
could say.
unfortunately, I agree.
I think that also gravitates to like the actors as well.
I'd say 80% actors and 20% editing in this case scenario that you were giving right now. Like obviously it got published.
I can see what you said, the editing, but like you hear the difference when like the English one said atomic and the other one said atomic.
Like there
Like
was
he changed his tone quickly on that one.
Right.
And
There was
in
reverb
the
at the
English
end.
stuff, he really didn't.
And there was more reverb, like
you felt like the urgency in his voice when he's like trying to like the more grandiose type of voice that he made it sound, right? Marcos, go ahead, bro.
optimal world. The voice actors are there in all languages, English, French, whatever, at the same time while it's being animated, and they all get the nuance from the same director.
I
That
think
would
you're
be the
talking about
optimal.
AI, right?
No,
Imitating that
not
voice.
I actually, this reminds me of a story. It's not anime related, it's voice acting related.
Okay.
With the voice of Optimus Prime. He went to a convention, and someone asked him. He's like, so how did you come up with this, majestic, beautiful?
The English one?
Yeah, the English one.
Okay.
The guy from
voice,
Taken.
Voice of Optimus Prime.
Right.
And I forgot what his name. His name is.
He's a British guy.
Yeah, he was the guy. He's the same actor that did Schindler's List. He's the same actor that did Taken.
Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson.
No, Peter Cullen.
Oh,
is the voice actor that I'm talking about.
Is he Optimus Prime?
Yeah, he's Optimus Prime.
I thought it was Liam Neeson. That's interesting.
No. It was Peter Cullen, and he told the story. It was a short story, but he's like, I like to tell this story because it has a lot of meaning to me. And he says that when he got he's like, there's an opening, and he says that at the time he was living, I think, with his brother or some family member, and he was ex-Marine, so he had like a little bit of authority behind his voice. And he was always like, he has that Peter, come here, all that type of voice. And then he said that he told them, because he's like, one day they were sharing a car, and he goes, Peter, where are you going today? And he goes, oh, do you need the car? He goes, no, I just want to know, I'm curious, where are you going? He goes, oh, there's an opening for a role. And he's like, that's the role of a truck. And like, I like how the audience started laughing. He's like, don't worry. He also laughed too, and had the same reaction. And he goes, well, what is it? He's like, he's the leader of this hero organization. He's a hero.
Autobots?
And he said that his face like changed into a more serious tone. And he goes to him, he's like, listen, Peter, if you're gonna be a hero, don't be a hero like a Hollywood hero that's screaming in silence, screaming or like shouting and all that. He's like, be strong enough to be gentle. Be a real hero. And that's what he said. So when he said he was going, like he was taking the car and he was practicing his voices in the car, he's like, I'm trying to get this down. I think he tried to do the voice of because he does another voice for, I forgot which person. And he's like, for some reason his friend kept on coming back, and he did the famous song where my name is Optimus Prime. I can't do it, but it's like, he goes, I just hear his voice coming through me. And he's like, this is the voice of Optimus Prime. And he's like, and that's how I got the role.
You look at his brother, and actual people that's been through the ringer in combat told him what to do. Can you imagine that?
No, yeah. But I was like, I like that I like how, because he told it. He's like, his demeanor changed in that moment when he said, he's a hero. He's like, you have to like you said, you have to be strong enough to be gentle. That phrase is like that kind of, and then that him saying that, like, his voice just kept coming back to him, and that's the iconic voice we hear, at the start of every Transformers movie. He's like, "My name is Optimus Prime."
Yeah.
So that's a classic.
But he had an actual first-person source to get the inspiration.
No, he's like, if you ever ask where does inspiration come from, it's because of him.
A brother, an actual Marine.
Let me say like a
Well, Josue, look at that. It kind of also reminds me, and just to go back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier. You found it?
No, I did not. Hold up.
Okay. So this is on the classic, but it's in the sub, right? I mean dub for Dragon Ball Z, where you have Vegeta saying this iconic quote, right?
It's over 9,000!
It's a meme. What do you mean? It's a meme.
No,
yeah.
And the interesting or special part about this is from this is what I've heard, not because this is true. I don't know if this is true, but I do remember that this particular quote wasn't ever said in Japanese. So not that I might be wrong. It might be an ad-lib that or something that was just made on the spot. But if you were to quote that or say that to someone that saw Dragon Ball Z in Japan, they wouldn't get the reference. They wouldn't associate it's over 9,000. But it was something that was said in the English dub and is very iconic now. And I think they did a really wonderful job voice acting Dragon Ball Z in particular.
But it's not as good as the Japanese, you're gonna say.
No. I think it's even more iconic to a certain extent, because that particular quote was never said in Japanese. And again, I could be wrong, but from what I gathered from like listening to people talk about that particular quote, they said that one wasn't ever mentioned or uttered in Japanese. In Japanese, it was only uttered or said in English. So that's why it's so iconic and very memorable, right? So I don't think all English dub is horrible. I just think there's particular people that do in certain times a really good job, right? Oh, Josue, please go ahead.
I found the clip where he says that he's like, what I was telling you is like what his friend or his relative told him. So, and then he also includes him going there. So I'm gonna include this real quick. Hopefully we don't get copyrighted. Right, Marcos?
Hope. Fingers crossed.
It's just him talking in the convention.
Let's see.
So hopefully. Oh, whoops! I forgot I muted it. Let's see.
In the meantime,
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, but Larry, he's evidently he's a hero truck. He's a hero. And his face got somber, and he said, Peter, if you're going to be a hero, be a real hero. Don't be a Hollywood hero type with all the BS and all the yelling and screaming and trying to be tough. Be strong enough to be gentle. Okay, Larry. Yeah. So as his voice is ringing in my ears as I'm driving to the audition, and I read the copy, and Larry is just coming out. His voice, the way he talked to me, and it said, I'm Optimus Prime. No, it was, my name is Optimus Prime.
Woo! Good job. So yeah, that's the little clip that he's like, that's the inspiration of Optimus. This guy.
He had a director leading it, like his brother from actual real life experiences directing him, and this hopefully can direct you to what my theory
is. Directed, I think it's like inspiration from.
Now imagine having
him, from growing up with him, and then hearing his voice. Like he said, he heard his voice. That quote or that little saying that he said, to be strong enough to be gentle, is like that came out, and it's like, that's what came out. Is he said, my name is Optimus Prime.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Hopefully, if this what I'm trying to to say is that my optimal dream would be optimal dream would be to have Optimus dream would be to have all the English, Japanese, French, Spanish, Italian, all the languages under the same director from the Japanese director to guide them and have the same the editing flow, if you will, versus having one dub at 3 days before publishing. And you know what? That will be my dream. Obviously, this is being idealistic, but it's like saying, like what I'm understanding in the sense of sports, having first division baseball versus second division baseball. And like the Japanese obviously going to be the first division because they get all the editing magic flow of the Japanese one, versus the English one is going to get the English editing flow, and it's not going to be the same part apart. They're going to copy it, but not the same. I don't even think that they communicate in the dubbing, like, oh, what software do you use? Adobe Audition. Okay, what's your, may I request your flow, because they can copy that via Adobe Audition. We don't even know that. I don't even know that. So my optimal, again, dang it, my dream ideal world would be to have all these dubbers that they want to have like under contract. May that be the same dub, the same voice actors, have the same director, and have the same editing chain to have the end product. But again, idealistic.
America.
I wish I had that stuff.
I think overall, if they want to be at the level of like Japan, there's a lot of rework that I don't think most companies in the dubbing scenario or scene would be willing to do, because that's a lot of investment for now. Yeah, the money, the honey.
Netflix hopefully can help, but again, this is a lot of politics and all those things too.
Well, I mean, like, you have to realize that this is it's voice acting is viewed differently here. It's like over here is like a gig still,
right?
Versus over there, that's like a full-fledged professional career.
The workers want to have it like the workers, but the companies see it as a little gig. Like we were talking about that with Shy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the workers are lacking; it's like, that the company perceive them as nothing. Versus over there,
it's like look at them. Like I've seen like with like there is a whole dilemma with a YouTube channel called Darman.
Yeah,
and the whole situation is that a lot of actors left because they felt like they weren't being compensated or paid at the amount that they believe that's valid for them, because
they're just
they're basically paid per, like, if they're only like, say if they're only like they have a 5-line situation in one of the videos, they'll get paid like as a side gig, and then like the main actors will get paid as only for the time that they're there. And the issue is that they're requesting them to say they're asking for 5 days, and the recording that only takes 3. They by contract obligation, they have to basically say, if there's a gig, say on the 4th day after recording, they're gonna have to turn them down because, oh, sorry, I have another gig coming up, because that's their contract obligation. So, and that's the issue they had, is like, number one, they're not letting us, basically getting the bag because of this contract obligation. It's like they understand it, but it's like it's very restricting for them, because they're
trying to eat.
I think there is a LA studio, and it's like they're trying to hustle.
Right.
It's like they're like they say that they're not mad at the exposure they're getting. It's just that they don't feel like they're being compensated what they are, because essentially they are the studio. These are the faces that you see in almost all of the videos, and they're like, we don't get paid like that. We get paid as this like on-call actors, which is
they get paid peanuts.
They get paid gig work, yeah, but it's not because the gig workers are wanting to be a gig. They want it to be a career, but the companies don't want it. Probably the same thing over there in Japan.
The best way to say is like they're being paid part-time, and they want to be paid full-time.
Yes, sir. How can they live? How can they pay rent? They need to pay rent, right?
Yeah.
Or eat even.
Right. And I think that's where the quality issue comes into play, right? Because I think what we also forget sometimes, it's like Japan is a small country. It's an island country. And most, if not all, of the voice acting, whether it be schools, companies, or production companies, are all located in Tokyo for the most part. So everyone from the north, west, or south of Japan that want to work in voice acting all go to Tokyo, right? Where over here, you either have to be in California, New York, or Texas in order for you to get your foot in the door, because that's where the companies are located, or the recording companies are located, right? And if you have a small pool of people living there, they're only going to mess with those people. Like, you might have an amazing voice, but you live in the middle of Nebraska, or out in Alaska, or in North Dakota, and trying to get yourself from where you live,
exposure,
right, all the way to either New York, California, or Texas, right? It's gonna take money that you're not making at the moment, even though you might have the best voice. You have like acting chops like no other, right? But you can't get yourself over there. I mean, there's nothing that one can do. And I think that it's unfortunate, because I'm pretty sure there's a pool of talent that's out there in the States that could probably work really well for certain types of voices, but we'll never get the opportunity to listen to them acting in that situation, because it's only located up till now in those 3 locations. And you would think that there's a really hefty pool of talent in those 3 places, but unfortunately, as we come to see, maybe they don't put the emphasis on those people's that voice acting job as much as others. Yeah, go ahead, Marcos. I'm sorry, bro.
No. So do you suggest that there should be like those baseball drives or football drives, that they go to universities and have like scouters for voice actors? Do you think that will be an optimal solution?
I think that's part of like one of many parts to the solution, because not only is it good to get pools of talent from around the States, I think one of the issues, and even Canada for the most part, because Canada also speaks English, and I think they have quite a bit of talent out there that could do the job as well. But I think what happens a lot of the times is not only that aspect, but also the filtration system, right?
What?
Where over there in Japan, again, thinking about it this way, they have plenty of people that want to do it, but they have a filtration system where not only do you go to a voice acting school after a certain age, right? You get placed in workshops and side gigs, working your way up, cutting your teeth on little side projects, or even whether it be theater or commercials. But you're getting your foot in the door and working your way and polishing your technique, and they use that as a filtration device for the time that they actually get an audition, right? Not even the job. They get an audition where they have to battle amongst other people that have done the same thing as they did to get the right particular person for that one voice acting job. This is why I think a lot of these people are treated so well over there and are viewed in...
Is it well, though?
Well, again...
A lot better than here, yeah. A lot better than
I would say, like, and I guess it's relative, right?
Yeah.
Over there, it seems, and to Shiran's a point where she was telling us that we kind of romanticize it. Well, possibly, but from what I can gather, again, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I can only imagine that they're getting treated better than the actual people that are drawing the cells for certain anime, right? Or the people that are in the production company drawing or coloring or shading or making the anime into what it is, right?
The keyframers,
right? Because
in between,
yeah, because I do think that they might be getting a better cut of whatever money it is, because they're bringing these characters to life before it gets animated. These people have no, I guess you can say, no real words or any sort of like personality. They breathe personality into this actual character with help from the source material, but they make it happen, right? And that's why I think it's taken a little bit more seriously over there in Japan than over here in the States, and not by the actual voice actors, but more so it's not taken as seriously by the actual production companies, right? Where Funimation, before it got bought out, you see Goku's voice actor, he was treated very well. Same thing with the Vegeta voice actor.
The multiple voices.
Right. But they were treated very well, and it seems like they put a lot of effort into it because that was their company. They bled for that company. They did many things for that company. They some days they said that their voice would be hoarse and shot because they would constantly go over and over and over until they got the voice just right for either Goku, Vegeta screaming, going Kamehameha, or whatever the case was.
They did videos showing bits of how they do the voice acting, like me right now. Like they would do that, and like
they would be relentless, right? And not to say that people on other projects don't go through those motions, but it translated a lot better. It just translated a lot better when you listen or you watch an old episode of Dragon Ball Z. Like, dude, it's very nostalgic. You get like so caught up into watching it. You think you're like, wow, I remember this. It's so iconic. What's the last show that you probably seen?
Case study of Vanitas.
Yeah. What's the one we were talking about last week? The demon.
My Dress Up Darling.
I think that was a really good one. No, I was thinking more along the lines of the demon.
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
No, the Demon Lord.
Misfit of the Demon Academy?
Right. Once they've changed the voice actor, it didn't quite sound the
Japanese
same.
One?
Yeah, and to translate it, it didn't sound right. I'm still trying to get used to that voice actor, and it's not going well.
Did they choose the English voice actor?
They switched the voice actor for what's his name, Josue? I'm sorry.
Was it the Japanese or the English one?
Japanese.
The character? Anos Voldigold.
Anos Voldigold, yes.
So his voice actor got switched up, and like you can hear that stark difference, and it sounds not as polished, not as good, and you're like, meh. It's kind of.
But he did Lisa 30.
And he got what he deserved. But I mean, got to give it up to his voice acting because he had chops.
So just as nuance, Chris, the voice actor of this Anos Voldigold was married or.
No, you gotta say with your chest, Marcos. You gotta say Anos Voldigold.
Was married or dating this other.
I think I was married at some point.
With a Japanese idol, right?
He was married to her. They got married.
Like in 2018, right? Like back in the day, like for a while.
Not
2019, I think it was.
It might have been during the pandemic, bro.
Oh damn. And some drama came up, and they ended up separating. But with that, a lot of what he's saying,
he cheated on her.
For who? Ooh, I want names.
I have no idea of that. That's very.
2020.
Oh,
yeah, it was very embarrassing.
He got married. He's also the voice of Bond as well from Seven Deadly Sins.
Unfortunate indeed.
That's a good thing I only listen dub, Chris. I never noticed the change. No, but again, this is my ideal world. Two things. One, to have the selected voice actors in any or all languages that they might dub it to in the director. But again, there's a lot of nuance that I'm glossing over, and then over here in the US, to expand the pool of speakers. Obviously, YouTube is a lot of exposure right now, but also there's content right there. Hopefully, Mr. Beast or us in the future go to different public areas, do it like via Instagram. Hey, we're gonna do a recording of voice. Whoever wants to do a voice actor, we're gonna put in some lines, a director, and record the lines. And the only thing is that you're gonna have a social media handle and be recording on video with these lines, and have a nice day. That can be a potential content to get the potential future voice actors for exposure, to have them being what's the guy that goes sees the football players or soccer players, scouters, probably go have the video of them or something, like a collaboration, and sponsored by Funimation, Crunchyroll, or something in the US. That's a concept. Obviously there's a lot of paperwork and logistics in the back, but that could potentially expose new voice actors to different products.
Hello?
What do you guys think?
You cut out a little bit, Marcos.
Yeah,
dang it, where did you guys last hear me?
You cut off. I think you're lagging, Marcos. I think he's lagged. Oh, I didn't know
sounds
this
like
thing lagged.
he lagged.
Let me. Oh, dang it.
Oh, there we go. There we go. I think you're back on.
You got
Say something.
NPC'd for a sec, bro.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like,
You almost went to another world with your
Where's
smartphone, Marcos.
Truckun?
well,
Wait, I want you to count from 1 to 10, but then also like with your word and your hands.
1, 2, 3,
Quicker.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, he's
All right.
So yeah, the goal is to have scouters or a collaboration with these big companies and have a YouTube video or something, you know, like a Mr. Beast style of all 50 states, even Alaska, to have like scouters.
But I mean, I think we're kind of like skipping a few steps. I think first we need to work on the foundation on these studios on its own. Maybe create like a schooling for these situations. Then we can go to like scouting and all
A
that
base
stuff. 'Cause,
camp.
you know, these scouting programs have a very hefty budget.
Right.
Brought to you by
agree.
Patreon.
Like especially for like football and like soccer, they have money and
Yeah.
What do they have? What do they
like
have?
good companies.
What do they have? No,
I
but
said
the way you
money.
said they have money.
Money.
I like how
Yeah.
you said it.
Well, I mean, you can
Yeah, but
you
I
can
mean-
either crowdfund it, I think, to begin with, but you can also, take the guesswork out of it a little bit, or put the first part online, so you don't have to necessarily go
A
places.
YouTube video.
Well, you know how there's a lot of people that do covers, a lot of people that do their own improvised dubbing for certain things. Well, you can start off there. I mean, once you actually go through those names, you'll probably be surprised that you find a lot of people that are not all located in major cities. That they might be,
Yeah.
in
Even
rural parts of the
within the
states.
states, yeah.
Right. So
But this is just a theory.
A
Again,
concept.
okay.
A
Right,
concept.
'cause then-
yeah.
once you narrow it down, like, I'm pretty sure that we would hope that person has like a group of people that they know that are probably close to them, that they would be willing to meet up at, if we would do something like that further along after people, do some sort of like crowdfunding where, all right, let's go to North Dakota, right? Or let's go to,
Yeah.
Ohio, or let's go to XYZ state, right? And
Even
then-
better, every
you-
train stop on the US. If you
No,
can make
not
it to a train stop,
necessarily.
we'll put in the booth and the mic.
You can go to each state's, or for the most part, like maybe not all 50 states, but to
Not
most
all 50
major
states.
states, state, city, what's a capital city, and do something there, and gather, and people can gather there, and I don't think it's particularly difficult once you get to that stage to do something like that, because you already built up a repertoire of who you are, what you
A
stand
handle.
for, and you kind of like become that last filter, I guess, because then you can make your own voice acting company where it's like, we gathered the best of the best of the best and we put money in their pocket to begin with, so they can, it's a little more accessible for them to move, or even travel to a state where you have all the equipment at, so you can actually record high quality audio. So that would probably be the one of the ways you can go about it, not the only way, but one way to go about it, so you don't have to stress about where are we going to get the talent, right? And then the filtration system of, are they better than the rest of the people that we have encountered, or something like that, right?
An example?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Can I give you? No, you good. An example that I want to give you is, for example, again, the company that I like to follow. It's not the best, but it's the one that I like to follow. Is Rooster Teeth. There were a lot of people that do their animation company, and one of them, or a group of them, say, you know what, we really, really like. They used to do a podcast called the Rooster Teeth Anime Podcast. I don't remember the full name, but one of these people called Cole, he was along with a team of animations and pitched it to the company. Hey, they're working with Warner Brothers, or under Warner Brothers, and they say, hey, I'm trying to do this to create a direct line, but I want to first learn Japanese. Can I go directly to Japan, learn Japanese, develop the network, the groundwork, and have a groundwork to have Japanese animators and have American voice actors work over there at the same, together. But I need to be the middleman, or I'd like to develop the groundwork to have middleman people, and develop a network with Ufotable to have those things. But I need to understand the language, because he pitched it to them, and he was talking to it in the Rooster Teeth podcast. he's already been gone for like what 8 months, and he's like he's not doing YouTube videos now. He's gone dark, and he's like I'm in Japan right now, taking classes, everything, day in day out, working, but he's following his passion of indulging himself in dipping himself into Japanese culture.
You mean?
There you go. Yeah. And like, but the way that he pitched it to the company is that he wants to open a Japan branch for Rooster Teeth or even Warner Brothers on their side, and Warner Brothers and Rooster say we get give you our blessings. And now he's living over there and hopefully gonna prop up the company's Japan branch.
Right? No, I totally understand where you're coming from, Marcos, and that's cool and all. But I think what you're trying to accomplish, it would need a different approach to it, and I think it would start with if you're enticed to do it yourself, you would have to go through the schooling of getting your ear trained in order for you to pick up on the nuances that of the pool of talent that you're gonna have to listen through, so you can make not only an educated. Not only the language, but like more than an educated guess, you make an assessment of what that person can bring, and if they have the potential to grow their range of their voice. Because what happens a lot of times, I think, is that sometimes we start dreaming really big and lofty goals start coming into our mind.
Pipe dreams, yeah.
Right, and then it's like, are we gonna submit ourselves or allow us to go through the fire, I guess you can say, of training our ear well enough in order for us to pick up on those cues, right? Of if this person not only has a talent, but will potentially get even better with time. Because there's people that are very, like, some are hyper focused and some are passionate, and some only seem like they're very hyper focused or passionate, and it's like you can't predict everything and anything. So for the most part, right? And what might happen is that person halfway along the line might say, you know what, I give up. It's not really for me. I don't want to do it. And then
this is a what if, what you're saying.
Of course. But what if also, if we're going to train our ear, what if halfway along the line, you're like, yeah, I don't want to do this. I'd rather pay someone to do it for me. Right?
What?
As you say, yeah, again, it's a what if, just to your point. What if on their behalf, but what if on your behalf as well? What if you get married and have kids? Are you going to dedicate the same amount of time you would have if you were single and didn't have anything else to
in
really...
the case of Cole, let's just talk in the case of this gentleman named Cole, right?
Okay.
He actually pitched it to the company and is working for the company to do this. Well, what do you think about that situation?
Well, that's because he has a backer, financially speaking. Mm-hmm. That's great. But like, if you're doing a grassroots type of thing, I would only imagine that you have to get capital from somewhere.
Yes.
If you have like, unless you have like $1 million or $3 million in maybe like the stock market, and it's giving you enough dividends so that you can live comfortably without you doing it much else besides reinvesting your money or using
Elon Musk style.
Well, yeah, I mean, but he has like 3 or 4 companies he's
Elon Musk,
with.
please, God, please.
But I think also had a good idea. Is like, if you were a Mr. Beast type of person, where
that was me.
Oh, that was you. Yeah. Well, to your point, then, Marcos.
Oh, it was me.
Remember where he got on Twitter and he was saying how much money would it take for every Naruto episode to look the way this one looks when they did that anniversary episode?
Which one?
And it looks super clean, like high definition.
It's the one that came out for their 20th anniversary.
So Mr. Beast went out of his way and said, hey, how much money do I have to throw at this project in order for all of Naruto to look this way? And that's a great way to approach it, because he has money, but people that are like us, unfortunately, don't have that capital at the moment. And I think,
He's like,
but do you have a sales plan, or do you have like
got 2 shekels to rub together? I mean,
yeah, so like, I got this letter of plan ideas, but I got no money to do it.
And that's not a bad thing, because again, that would probably motivate you to actually go about it in a different way, so you don't have to necessarily spend a bunch of money you don't have at the moment using the internet, using your resources that you have, which is the internet. You go about it going on Reddit, going on YouTube, going on Twitter, and asking around, and setting up some sort of support team that is going to help you along the way. I think that's ultimately something you can start doing without putting a penny down. But again, it's only going to get you as far as you're going to push. And if you're going to push beyond your limits and go over 9,000, yes, plus ultra, then I would say go for it.
All right.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
Sorry,
we were taking over the mic, Chris. What do you think?
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm not into voice acting or anime as much as you guys, because you guys were spitting out so many names, and I was like, wow, like I could deal with like Attack on Titan and Naruto and like your big name, like mainstream stuff.
That's not mainstream. It's just I forget.
I'm just, I've watched like some. There was one. It's actually Chinese. The Immortal Life of a Daily King, something like that. The Daily Life of.
Oh yeah,
I really liked that one. Yeah, that one was good, and it wasn't as mainstream as the ones I usually watch. But that's my 2 cents. I couldn't really add too much to the rest. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if you had a question or not.
Oh, me personally, the only question I would probably do is like, what are your favorite, like maybe not top 5, but 5 that comes to mind that you really enjoyed watching besides the one you just mentioned right now?
Besides that one, okay, I have to think of
Mr. Beast.
Animes. I'll say Kakegurui.
The gambling one on Netflix.
The gambling one is up there.
Okay.
I don't think it's my favorite. I think my favorite is Attack on Titan, just because that's where I got started.
Okay, that's fair. That's awesome.
That was for real. That was a while ago.
2013 to be exact.
Yeah, it's ages for them to come out with that 3rd season, and then now they're dragging it. They just need to finish it.
Excuse me, sir. Let me introduce you to One Piece.
Oh no, I could never.
It's been
7 years.
24, 25 years.
Yeah,
And it's
Yes,
still going
sir.
strong.
This is just a
because we're
prologue.
still. Wait, what?
You're wild,
You're
wilding, bro.
They're still releasing weekly chapters. What is it called? Weekly releases.
Yeah, Oda is a beast.
It's
His
crazy.
team's
it's
also a
crazy.
beast too.
But you know,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. So go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'd say those 2. I watched Hunter x Hunter. I watched Bleach.
Nice.
I watched what's it called? Jujutsu Kaisen.
Nice.
I've watched Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer is probably 4.
Oh yeah, I have to go, guys. So I'm gonna hop off.
Have a good evening.
All right.
All right.
Take
see
it
you
easy.
2 days.
I forgot where was I? Oh yeah, those I'd say Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Kakegurui. Those are up there. Top 5, not in any particular order, but they're up there.
No, and that's awesome. That's an awesome list. That's respectable. And you know what it reminds me of? I think earlier this week, or yeah, at some point this week that just passed, something came up. I think it was Michael B. Jordan was in an interview and was asked to mention, I think it was like his top 5 anime to like for I guess newbies to get into, and I think he mentioned very similarly to you, something along the lines of One Piece. I think he also mentioned Naruto, Bleach, and Hunter x Hunter. So I think those were the ones that he mentioned. I'm not sure if there's one I'm missing, but very similar. And I don't think it's a bad list. I think it's a very respectable list because it's obviously shonen action manga, right, or action anime, where it's for the viewer that's a young male that likes to see
A
action.
young blood,
Yes, likes to see action. A little bit of politics splashed in, a little bit of gore splashed in, maybe a smidget of like maybe love interest, but it's very popular, and I think it's something that a lot of us have grown up with in some shape, way or form, and I think it's a respectable list. some people were giving him crap about it. Yeah, some people that are weebs were giving Michael B. Jordan a hard time. It was like, come on, why would you pick these? There's some other ones that you should have mentioned that were a little.
I'm sorry, people. He's entitled to his own opinion.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I mean, when did people start hating on someone that likes whatever you like, right? I thought it was uncalled for, and it's silly because it's like. Yeah, it's like, dang, bro, a person can't like what they want to like or mention what they want to mention without people kind of trying to chime in and that.
Gatekeeping.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you think a Hollywood actor, a A-lister is gonna has a time to leave and think about what your random thoughts are on his opinion? Like, come on.
Yeah. I like really
What's your flavor?
like really I like the anime styles that are really, I don't know, is it like really modern? I don't know. The newer ones are good. The newer ones are good. The higher refresh rate ones are good. I like the special effects in Demon Slayer. They look really nice. I watched Your Name, which was also good.
Yeah, top notch.
The visuals.
No, they're good.
Visuals. I really like visuals. It's kind of shallow, but
not really. It's just your.
Nah,
how are you gonna pull in new viewers if it's not for something?
I prefer the anime aesthetic of Your Name and Demon Slayer over like OG
The person that kept
classic
dying?
Dragon Ball Z. I mean, not
The
Dragon
one
Ball
that
Z
kept
per
dying?
se. Dragon Ball Super. I think the visual, the whole visual of Demon Slayer is a lot better than Dragon Ball Super, hands down. Especially like Your Name, I think is a really like. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece, but I think it's up there, like getting to being a masterpiece as far as aesthetic and animation wise, And
what would you describe as a masterpiece?
personally,
Top. Yeah,
I mean,
shows or movies, TV, anime shows or movies.
both.
well, at least for a show, like what I would call like a masterpiece. I don't think I've have one to tote as a masterpiece, but something that I always go back to and I watch, like at least maybe once a year, would probably be a Yu Yu Hakusho. I think the story is very well written, especially the first part up to the tournament arc. I think is very, well written. I really enjoyed the characters, and a lot of those characters you see them kind of the repetition of these character designs of these like a Yusuke, Urameshi, right, Kurumara. It's like you see them in other stories that Togashi has written, like in Hunter x Hunter, right? The archetypes.
Right.
I think that those are, for me, are really classic and very well written characters. The story arc, the tournament arc, and even when it got down to the last part that he wrote for that anime or that manga originally, the frustration that he felt with the people that were handling his situation, he got super upset. He wasn't feeling good. It's like it was that distraught feeling, and he kind of, like, from what I could gather of what he wrote about the production team at Shueisha, I believe, he wasn't feeling, very happy or content working with them, and that's why he kind of wrote the way he wrote. Kind of, I think his name was Sunsui, one of the last people that he was writing about, and it was like a person with multiple personality disorder, and each of them had like some sort of superpower and a different alter ego, and it, again, I thought it was pretty well written. I want to say another show I probably go, maybe I rewatch once every 2 years at least. I'll do like a Rurouni Kenshin, because I think it's really well made. I really dig the whole aesthetic. I think it's like Edo period Japan, and and I think it's not as bloody as I like something like Gangsta is, or something like what's another one I want to think about? Drifters.
The one that has the armor that is always poking him.
What do you mean, Goblin Slayer? I think.
Gantz. No, what's
Gantz?
Guts.
Oh, no.
Guts.
Oh, that's yeah, not maybe not something I would consider like a classic or something that I like to rewatch. But yeah, I know where you're coming from. But I do like the Rurouni Kenshin anime a lot because of the aesthetic, the character, the archetypes. I think Kenshin Himura is well written. You can see like the layers of character development that he had to go through, and where he kind of is in his headspace, the people that he basically cherishes and cares about, and the way he goes about trying to protect them, even if it's at the cost of his own well-being. Like I think that's, you know, very grown-up situation, or situations that he goes through, and he wants to be there for them and teach not the way of murder, but the way of, you know, a kind sword that protects. So it's a lot of these elements that you see and you're like, oh, that's dope. Yeah, I think it's really dope. Those are the two that come to mind. If I were to say something, I guess, newer, I think the anime has been flooded with a lot of what's it called, isekai. So
That's
as of late, but I mean, stories that I find novel and kind of like easygoing, and I like to watch just for the I guess the hunky dory like happiness, is probably something like By the Grace of the Gods. I think it's a cool story.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good story, well put story. It's nothing gory, nothing bad. It's just a very feel good show where you see this protagonist, you know, trying to be very happy, very friendly with everyone around him that has helped him out even in this time of need. And I think it's a very positive and very happy show.
Can I give two?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm taking up all the time.
No, good. One is Golden Boy. I finished it today.
Congratulations, bro.
8 episodes, tight 8 episodes, perfect. I wish there was more,
Okay.
but there's it. That's what I would recommend. 1988, I think it was made. You can tell the passion when they're hand drawing everything and putting in the keyframes by hand. And another one is Konosuba, by the blessing of the gods.
Oh, but that's comedy. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, it's just there's something, and the dub it's lacking. The sub is on point. I that's the nuance. Everything that I said it's very very lacking there, and sub is better there. I'd recommend it sub. And then for one more that I recommend is again Vanitas. There's some nuances that I find very appealing. Not only the art style, but also the style of the story and all those things. And like you're saying, younger children or people that are getting into anime obviously have to be pulled in like in any cartoon. And if you stay with the 1980s right now, you're never gonna advance, pull in more people probably. So it's capitalism at the end of the day. Recently there was an r/anime from Reddit a ceremony for anime, and there was a standing comment where they were saying, don't get me wrong, modern anime is good. It's just that graphics or aesthetic isn't the end all be all, dear listener that were saying, or whatever. So there people, and they were commenting on that, and they were saying, yes, I agree, which reminds me of the movies. Remember how some people, movie snobs, are saying that, back of the 1930s, the noir movies are, the bee's knees. You should watch. These are the 100 movies that you should watch to get a better to be in a better headspace to watch movies. And the same thing applies to books. The same thing applies to anime, and the same thing applies to food. Even what were we just talking about, Chris?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm like thinking about what you're saying right there, Marcos, and I totally agree. It's like you can have the aesthetic, but be lacking in the story aspect, and it kind of
soul.
Yeah, it kind of like, I guess it makes the whole experience worse.
Oh yeah, they kind of not Demon Slayer, Death Note, another one that's top five.
Okay,
The
yeah,
TV show or the anime?
Yeah. That's
The TV show, the 2 seasons. The movie was terrible.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
I see, I
movie,
see.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah, the
Wait, what do you
live
mean
action.
by- Yeah, the live action was disgusting.
but the
Okay,
anime,
okay.
What do you mean by anime or TV show?
TV as in real life.
Oh, there's a TV. I forgot Netflix did that.
Yes,
Oh no, I'm talking about the
yes,
anime.
yes. That's yeah. TV. I mean, yes.
That's why Micros was like kind of a little iffy on that one.
I used the wrong word. It's the anime versus the TV show.
Right.
I forgot they made like a live action TV show thing.
Yeah, definitely. But to your guys' point, I think the anime was a great psychological anime because it was that, you know, that those two different worldviews, and they're going against each other, and they're getting into each other's headspace, trying to see who can one up each other, right? And I think that's awesome, and I consider that a really well written story as well. And it's something that, you know, probably you wouldn't, you know, have a little kid watch, but it's still an amazing piece of what's it called, written fiction.
And then there's the writing. A lot of people say the manga. Go to the manga.
Right. A lot of the I guess you can say newer shows that we're seeing, like isekai, are not even manga. They're actual light novels, right? So
That's another world.
right. So there's no pictures in the book. There's just a bunch of words.
No pictures.
I can't
Sometimes
read.
words are hard and tedious, and some people prefer having that translated into some sort of show like an anime. And what a good example is this, not most recent, but I think one that was really well written that finally got animated was reincarnated, Jobless Reincarnation. I mean,
Yes,
the
2013.
Mushoku Tensei, right?
27.
Which was originally a web novel, I believe.
Light novel, I think.
I think it was originally a web novel, and then it went from web novel to light novel, and then from light novel to anime, if I'm correct. I might be wrong, but I think that's another great story, a well-written story, where you get a lot of world building and you get a lot of you know, character development with a lot of these characters, especially when you see the first season and second season. You're hoping that it comes out quicker than you know it could possibly be made. So I think that's another great story. That's a newer one in the sense of being animated, but it still was written, you know, about
Way before Sword
like-
Art Online even.
yeah, like maybe more than 10-15 years ago, right? Those are just some examples. And yeah, I mean another other show that we can probably talk about is it was Bleach. Bleach, I thought, was a really well written. I like the aesthetic, the way Tite Kubo draws. I think he has a really good handle on aesthetic and art style, and even like the fashion pieces that a lot of the characters wear are very, very intricate, very cool, very nostalgic, and it just shows, I guess, how well-rounded he is in the sense of being, you know, an artist, not only a writer of a story, but even the way he draws. So yeah, I think like one of the few, maybe not the few, but one of the mangakas that you see that he puts in little twists of like Spanish, English, Japanese, and mixes it together. Yeah.
Hueco
So-
Mundo and all those things, right?
Right. You get
La
these like
mano derecha.
right, and then you even get the soundtrack where you get like these little hints of Spanish guitar and stuff like that, which kind of brings the whole universe together, where you get not only the aesthetic, the drawing, the actual great story, but you get the music to it, and it sounds so dope. It plays off of each other, and I really find that entertaining. I think for like, I mean, again, nowadays you get a lot of this, with the exception of like a Demon Slayer, like Jujutsu Kaisen maybe, or a Attack on Titan. You'll get like a lot of these isekais that are kind of like, what's it called? Protagonist Kun being super powerful,
Plot
no one
armor.
can beat them, right? And and it
Yeah.
it's kind of like a cookie cutter type of situation with
It
a lot of
pulls
these.
people. It pulls the viewers.
It's like they all look the same, they all do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it gets a little tedious, but there's some of them that kind of outshine from or differentiate themselves from one another a little bit with certain quirks or little nuances that they have. Maybe one can order things off of Amazon even though they're in another world, or maybe one befriends some
Decided to
sort
quit
of
heroing and
slime.
join the demons party.
Right, or one becomes not a person but an inanimate object like a sword.
Knock on
Or
wood.
the newest one that's coming out maybe becomes a vending machine
or a jacuzzi.
or a jacuzzi. Yes, of course. And again, those are the kind of funny haha like let's just watch it for turn off your brain
off
and
your
watch
brain.
it. Yeah, exactly. And just have kicks and giggles. And there's everything in between.
You know,
Imagine
even when
if-
it came out written, what was the thing? But it pulled people in.
Right. And I think what's even more interesting sometimes, it's like, I don't know if you guys remember watching on Toonami when you were growing up, like shows like Hamtaro, possibly, right?
What is it? Dun 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 dun. Big Adventures. Hamtaro.
Right.
I saw the dub. Sorry, I saw the dub.
No, so did I. And you get these type of anime that are like maybe more towards little kids with like more positive type of scenarios where it's almost like a anime version of a PBS Kids show.
Probably is.
Like,
Probably
right? Like an Arthur, but in Japanese or something like that. So you get these, right? So you get these like feel good type of shows with messages that aren't too hard to digest. And I, when you're growing up, I think that's as a gateway, right? As a open door for something new, like
to submerge yourself in that kind of culture.
right, to immerse yourself again to a little bit of something different. And then you'll get like Monster Ranchers, or you get like a Beyblade, or you get a Yu-Gi-Oh, and then you start getting to different ones, and you go to like a Death Note, or you go to like a Attack on Titan, where it's a lot more gory. You go to like something a little bit more like Gangsta, or something like a like Drifters.
Banana fish.
And I think it's like awesome that there's this whole range of different types of genres inside anime that you can pick and choose from, and it's not only shonen or shoujo or seinen.
Seijo.
Oh, there you go. I was waiting for you to say that one, bro.
I wasn't giving I was gonna wait until the end, but you weren't giving me an option. You weren't giving me an option.
Oh no, bro. Talk about fiction, man. Fictional sport.
It's a sport. It's for this, to keep yourself in fit.
I don't even know if you can call what they do in that sport.
It's art. It's arts.
Is that what we call it now? Art?
It's art. We're not gonna explain what it is to Chris. It's just we like you gotta figure it out, Chris.
I'm totally confused, but
Don't worry about it.
funny.
It's okay. It's being recorded.
Marcos will send you the link to it. Don't worry. It's nothing rated R. It's just kind of very silly. It's silly. It's so funny. It's so unrealistic. It just becomes silly. And
that's my sense of humor.
yeah,
Yeah, of course. Yes.
I would say if you were to cross volleyball with wrestling, you start getting a sense of what this so-called
With water sports,
with water, yes. Start getting a sense of what that might
full contact
sum up
sports.
to. And no. I think it's something ridiculous. But
With that, what do you think?
yes, I think we should call it, bro.
With Keijo in the brain, and teasing Chris with it.
But
What? Would you, any final thoughts, Alan and Chris?
I was gonna say, Chris, I would hope that at some point down the line you can join us again on the podcast, and we can talk about your experience with maybe Keijo or some other ones that we mentioned. today.
Konosuba.
Absolutely. You guys could have sent me them though, because I'm gonna be honest, they went through one year and right out the other. Because
Don't you
Oh, yeah,
worry.
I'm
definitely.
not good with names.
Don't sweat it, Marcos, and I
we know it.
got your back.
Just send me your list, Alan,
Awesome.
and I'll keep them communicated. And do you feel comfortable, Chris, of us posting it in wherever YouTube and all those things, your IG link profile?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, and I did also send in the group chat the Instagram video I was talking about. So if you could send that to Chris, I would really appreciate it, just so we can laugh at people's reactions of this Nashville hot spice packet on the fried chicken. Because I was
On the
thinking
squad
of
chat,
doing it
right? On the
myself.
squad? On the phone?
I was thinking about doing it myself. But with that being said, again, guys, please reach out to us on our social media account, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you listen to your
Comment on
the
YouTube.
podcast. Comment on YouTube. Please give us a like,
5
subscribe.
stars, thumbs up.
Yes, share.
Subscribe.
Yes, share it to everyone that you know. And hopefully we will be getting in touch again very, very soon on the next installment of LTS Podcast.
Dragon Ball. Wait.
Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, and or night. Peace.
Thank you, Chris, for joining us.
Thank you, Chris. Definitely,
of
definitely,
course.
definitely.
No
Thank you, Chris.
problem. I'm happy to be here.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
And with that, I end the recording.